Hey guys, Dreadbane joined by Sapphire. The featured match today is between KJH, the Red Terran, and MOOnGLaDe, the Yellow Zerg. Now, I should say Glade because it's now Glade. And this is Metalopolis, Seth, so looking forward to it.
Yeah, pretty epic matchup here, considering it's mOOnGLaDe, who's pretty much accepted as the best Zerg player from Australia, if not the best player from Australia, versus KJH, who arguably, and I'm going to get in trouble for this, is the top Terran in Australia right now. And just a little bit of observer chat going on. We've actually been sent this replay by Dell, and if you don't know who Dell is like the man in terms of Australian tournament scene. He organises all the biggest tournaments. So hopefully this is, and I should mention this, that this is a practice match that KJH and mOOnGLaDe did, because that's what the Australian team is always doing. They're always practicing against each other as well as laddering. So hopefully we don't give away too many trade secrets in this game. But looks like standard opening here from mOOnGLaDe is just scouting and taking the Xel'Naga, which is always nice. Look at all that extra information he's got. If there was a scouting SCV out, he'd see it. So he's going to pick up KJH's position very quickly here, and it'll be interesting to find out whether or not he's going to be able to interrupt this initial wall in. But it looks like standard opening from KJH. No super fast gas yet, and went barracks after supply depot, so it looks like pretty standard opening at this point.
Yeah, you're going to have to buckle up for that hate email for KJH. If people are not happy that you're going to say he's the best Terran player. I hope you're ready for that.
Yeah, I'm supposed to be impartial, not allowed to say this stuff. A little bit of worker flirtation going on there as mOOnGLaDe tries to interrupt the barracks, but beautiful timing there by KJH. His SCV arrives the moment Glade's drone arrives, so he can, chase him off while he scouts as well. So pretty solid stuff from both players. mOOnGLaDe, interestingly enough, has gone for his pull before gas. We have seen a lot of very, very fast gas builds out of mOOnGLaDe lately. So interesting that he's not using a fast gas there. And just a little bit of SCV dancing going on here. Will mOOnGLaDe get the kill? This SCV is down to 10 hit points. It will be a bit of a loss for KJH, but no. Finally, he does save it, and the Marine's out now, so that's going to deny that. But really good information for Glade, who goes to that sneaky gas steal. I always like the gas steal from Zerg. Other races just aren't as big a fans of it, but I'm always a big fan.
Yeah, he transitioned from conga line into gas steal, so I like that play there. It was very good just to watch that.
Yeah, definitely. That's definitely the conga line build. That's going to be ripped off, and we're going to hear it everywhere. But you heard it here first, conga line to gas steal. It's the new pro opening.
So this Marine is just going to town on this extractor now, joined by his buddy, so that's going to be down in a couple seconds there. Meanwhile, mOOnGLaDe is moving away across now with these 4 Zerglings about to wreck the front of this base, with another Marine spawning just there now too. So it should be an interesting fight when these Marines finally get to actually taking care of these Zerglings.
Yeah, that's one thing that with the gas stealer, we'll catch his Marines out of position here, but he's got one Marine there while the other 2 finish the gas off, so I think he's going to be just fine. Just a little bit of harassment there for mOOnGLaDe. Really interesting opening from mOOnGLaDe. He got that gas very, very late, and he powered the hell out of his drones. So even though this harassment means that he hasn't really got anywhere with it, he got the gas steal off and an initial SCV harassment, and then took a few whacks on this supply depot. It meant that he was covering his massive powering. Already got his second queen online. He's got a huge amount of drones while his expansion comes online. With that really late gas, he was able to power drones more. But KJH, not to be fooled, is sending his Marines out to attack. He's just not interested in being put on the defensive. He goes straight here, and he's going to pick off the Xel'Naga camper there. So it should be fine for mOOnGLaDe. He does have that second queen and a bunch of Zerglings. But depending on KJH's micro, and he's got that fast Hellion out, so if he can get that Hellion past, he should be able to take out these links. It's a little bit of a bad situation for mOOnGLaDe. Doesn't want to lose any drones here. This could be potentially bad because they're getting caught in the crossfire of that Hellion. The Hellion's finally going to go down now. It's just a trapped Marine, so Glade was on top of it, as I should have assumed. But the danger with Hellions as a Zerg player, and KJH is still streaming them in, is if you look at this, there's not much mOOnGLaDe can do until he gets Zergling speed online, which is only just researching now, but the Hellions can kite Zerglings basically forever, just move a little bit, and attack, and they'll just pick off these Zerglings. So this is really bad for Glade. He's basically got to stay within the protection of his creep and his queen here, and KJH just gets free harassment. And if he commits to it, which we aren't seeing, but if he commit to it and got the pre-igniter upgrade, we'd actually see potentially his drones start to go down. But it looks like KJH is transitioning into siege tanks here, getting that fast siege tank research on, which the Hellion harass that he's doing here does cover for. So pretty good opening from KJH, but mOOnGLaDe's just defending it so well. Hasn't really lost any drones to it, so he's in pretty good shape.
This boss of a Hellion's up to 7 kills now. He's just commanding this little expansion now with his queen desperately trying to get it. He will get taken out there, but doing a lot of damage for just one Hellion, so shows really how well they do against Zerg players. But I mean, that's just early business while this siege tank is already hanging out at the entrance of KJH's base with a bunch of Marines ready to go. So siege tech and this tank's already on their way, and another barracks going down right now, so 3 barracks and 1 factory. So yeah, just a bit of a back and forth now with the Zerglings now with speed upgrade flying across the map with their little wings, so he'll have to defend this in a couple seconds.
Yeah, those Zerglings have finally got into the case of Red Bull now, so they're all good.
Oh no.
But interestingly enough, KJH threw down this second command center, which assumedly was to fast expand, but he actually built a few SCVs out of it, and he does give him that extra mule mana really early, so pretty nice there from KJH, although he may be interrupted on his expansion with those Zerglings hanging out there, which is what mOOnGLaDe is trying to see here. While mOOnGLaDe himself is just macroing up, he's got his lair tech online, researching Overlord speed, which is an interesting choice because as opposed to getting the super fast Overseer, morphing one of these Overlords, he gets this Overlord speed so that you can move in these Overlords and not have just the huge amount of gas invested into one for the Overseer for the Changeling Scout, which I think is an interesting choice. There's mixed theories on which one's actually better, whether to get that fast Overseer to scout or whether to get the Lord speed and just do it with your Overlords, because then, even though it's much of a muchness, with the Overlord speed you can research drops a lot faster because it's just one more upgrade. So interesting choice by Glade, but it's only just now coming online, whereas you would have had an Overseer a lot faster. So interesting choice there, we'll see if it makes any difference.
Yeah, mOOnGLaDe with a sneaky little spire in the corner of his base. Well, not really corner, it's actually by the entrance, but he did try and be a bit sneaky with it. So mutas are on their way, well, they're spawning now, so we have to see the response for KJH. He's got these tanks, 3 tanks now with a bunch of Marines at the front, but that's not going to be enough to really defend any muta attacks, especially when he's moving out. This could be very bad timing if Glade decides to start harassing with this business, because he doesn't have any turrets up in his base or anything. So this could be a very dangerous part of the game, because KJH is moving out with these siege tank, and this could be very devastating to this expansion too.
Yeah, it's really going to be at a strong point too. Metalopolis really favours this. He can use these ramps to devastating effect. So just interesting enough, KJH has not liked what he's seeing there coming off with the scan, and the muta harass is coming into the base now. Turret finally going up, but he's going to catch a few of these Marines out of position. Stim going off does have a few Marines, enough to turn these mutas away, but the good thing about muta harass is you can just sort of eat away at your opponent over and over again. But mOOnGLaDe has just been powering these drones. His economy is really thriving now, and he's 1500 compared to 1300 with a 64 over 46. So that's including the mule advantage that KJH had by getting that second orbital really quick. So Mutalisk Crash still going off, but I just think that mOOnGLaDe's economy is in such great shape now that he can transition into anything you want, and he threw up a Baneling Nest. So thinking about a possible bust, or possibly even dropping Banelings if he gets this Overlord Transporter in play. So it looks like both players trying to macro up as mOOnGLaDe takes another expansion and is 3 basing versus 2 basing from KJH. So could be in for an epic build-up of forces here, as mOOnGLaDe's just trying to make sure there's no sneaky expansion going on. And we are seeing melee research coming out of these 2 Evo chambers, so possibly even a transition to mass ground, possibly even Ultra Ling going off if he techs that late and gets Lair Tech online. Just curious to see where mOOnGLaDe's going to take this build.
Yeah, these medevacs coming out instead of course, the Vikings very early on to support these Marines so far, which will be enough to cover these Mutalisks as long as they're in the right position. There's a bunch of them too. But now these siege tanks are about to move out, going to take out these Overlords, even with the speed upgrade. So he's going to be strong pointing right now with this force, with these 2 medevacs flying overhead. They should be in a really good position if they don't get, if it doesn't become too sloppy here.
Yeah, and it's going to be a little bit of an interesting